This is something that has now become a little bit of a tradition here when we return from our travels at York College, where the students who are taking the class for credit will actually be presenting some of their photos to you. How many people just got back from Turkey and Greece? Raise them high, Nick, raise them, right? And so there's the participants here that we traveled with.
Delphi is in Greece, of course. And the museum there was absolutely fantastic. They had one of my favorite exhibits up in the corner here. The writing is the oldest surviving musical notation in the world, which I found to be very interesting. Also in the middle, they have what's called a tripod. Because the city existed on this fault line, there were these gases that would come up, and people would go over there, and because there's a lack of oxygen, start to hallucinate, start to convulse, start to have all sorts of kind of medical problems, but they took it as the gods speaking to them. Also, the statue here was one of my favorite statues ever. It was of a successful chariot race driver, and when you stood in front of it, from this angle, I don't know, it's hard to really judge expression, but as he walked back, his expression appeared to change. And I'm not even kidding you. It was really interesting. On a more cultural note, here's that again. On a more cultural note, I loved going to the hookah bars or water pipe bars, whatever you want to call them. It was very high quality water pipe, and the shisha was fantastic. Came in all sorts of different flavors, but they always just did apple. But it was there that I found I could actually socialize with people, meet the locals, and really just relax and hang out. They didn't call it hookah there, they called it water pipe. But maybe on every block there was 1 or 2 hookah bars, and they had every flavor imaginable. And people would sit down there, and from my understanding at least, it was very relaxed, very comfortable. You could kind of come and go between tables as you wanted, and it was kind of like our version of a bar. There were very few actual bars though. It was wonderful. People were so willing to answer any question I had, and they just really wanted me to fully understand what life was like there, and not what we'd heard from the media and things like that. The people were absolutely the friendliest people I've met in the entire world, it felt like.
A lot of you may know there was a lot of issues going on in Greece while we were there. And I got a lot of pictures of different signs, and this was my favorite. And it was taken, if you're looking at this, the parliament would actually be back here. And it was during the day, so we didn't see too many protesters that were there. However, this banner was probably as tall as I was. And it says, "You got the disease, we got the solution, revolution." And I liked it because it overlooked what we kind of referred to as Tent City, because it was this entire square full of people that have set up tents and were not leaving, and were sitting there passing out flyers, stopping and talking to anyone that would listen about what they felt really passionate about. Well, in Athens currently, there's a lot of debate going on among the citizens because of the IMF. The EU essentially is going to have to bail Greece out because of the money that it's already borrowed from the IMF. And so what was really interesting was how many people were really mad about this, that if they do this bailout, that they're going to have to be paying the money back. And so leading up to the parliament, there's this big square. And it's a lot of cement. It's not like a park or anything, but it's usually walkways leading out, branching out towards the main parts of the city. And it was completely covered in tents. And there were signs everywhere and banners, and most were in Greek. There was a lot of artwork, kind of like our political cartoons. They were all over the place. And then the one that I saw that was in English I found really interesting. It said, "We got the disease," or "You've got the disease, we've got the solution, revolution." And it kind of showed that a lot of people were ready for a major change because they recognized that Greece is having consistent problems and that something really radical needs to be done in order for a change to come about.
I really liked about both of the countries where there were tons of animals that just essentially ran rampant. And it kind of worried me at first because I thought, no one's taking care of these animals, I'm going to find a bunch of dead carcasses near them. Actually not. I asked John and Octay, and they both said that they were both animal countries where people would take care of the stray animals. And frequently I actually saw people stop if they had any kind of food with them, or if I had water, they would just break it off for animals and feed the animals, which was nice. And of course I pet them all.